Hi, I'm Paul Feiner.
I'm Pauline Mosley.
And today we have a very interesting show. If Mother Teresa was here, she probably would say that the male version of Mother Teresa is Jim Killoran, because Jim is the head of the Filler Center, and they've done so many good things for the community. During hurricanes, when people lost their homes, they have helped people rebuild their homes. So Jim, maybe you could tell us just a little bit about yourself and also about the Filler Center.
Well, listen, put me in the category of Mother Teresa, though I did meet her in Newark one day, and she was about this big, and she changed the world, just like you do, and you do in your circles, and you do. The power of one is amazing, no matter what congregation you go to. And we're a faith-based ministry. Millard Fuller was the founder of Habitat with his wife. He and his wife were millionaires. They were Elon Musk of yesteryear. 2,000 acres, cars. His goal was to be rich and to be buried in the rich section of the Alabama cemetery. He had a deep Southern accent. And his wife said, "You know, you're never home. I'm going to divorce you." And they prayed. They went to a black-white Christian community called Koinonia Farms, where they get shot at. God forbid, black and white people. We shouldn't even be. Imagine what it was like, be together. And just working on a farm. They left. They went to Africa to build homes. Came back and started Habitat. Our most famous volunteer, President Carter, who I've been with 5 times, and Rosalind, God rest her soul. President Bush gave the Fullers a sidewalk outside Washington, D.C. as a point of light. I was there when Eunice Shriver was there too. And the Clintons, who came to our event in Chappaqua, where we were taking an old church and building passive homes, gave him a Presidential Award of Freedom. So they should have gotten a Nobel Peace Prize. When he turned 70, they asked him to leave. He said, "Jim, I'm never going to stop building." So I was one of the founding board members 20 years ago next year of the Fuller Center, which is built, built 8,000 homes internationally. We're the #1 builder in El Salvador. I've been to Haiti. We're building in Pinon. We're building in Madagascar. We're building in Utah. And I always said, as I said to Terrence, the hardest place for anyone to own a home is probably New York.
Let me ask a question. We had a resident, Kimona Hansen,
Yes.
And she was impacted tremendously by the Hurricane Ida. And she reached out to everybody, and unfortunately, nobody really responded. And then all of a sudden I thought, I'd call you. And what happened?
Well, it's just an honor to help someone when they're in their worst time in a crisis. It's a sacred responsibility, and I've done that with thousands of people from fire, floods, and hurricanes. Kimona and her husband Pascal and her 3 kids are amazing. To this day, not only them, people still are trying to get back from Hurricane Ida because you don't get, FEMA isn't giving as much. Your insurance is putting red circles around areas that flood a lot, and the house I showed, we did in Mamaroneck 18 years ago above the flood line, and they still flood. So we went over and probably done about $80,000 worth of volunteer labor work, professional. Your building inspectors are great. I never take a building inspector for granted. And never take for granted, right as we speak, Miami is underwater. And this is hurricane season, and I'm a big one. I become somewhat of a prepper. Have a go bag. If you want sandbags, email me. We've delivered sandbags to some of the residents here.
How many residents of Greenburgh did you give?
We gave 200 sandbags out in short notice. We've given 1,200 out. Now, you say a sandbag, and people, that isn't going to fix the problem. But if you own a home, make your home the most resilient it can be.
Right.
It's your castle, and we're experts on that. And so we've lifted homes up. We've given sandbags up. Every inch of water is $16,000 worth of a ServPro coming in and gutting and mucking the house. There's also, instead of sheetrock, there's like a plastic 4x8 that I can put details out that people can just drop it down, dry it off, and put it back up the next day, and it looks as nice as sheetrock does in your basement. So we've learned a lot of things, but you can also learn on the web about products that are out there, many that you could buy to make your home more resilient. And you can also contact us if you want us to go over and look at where you live, look at where the water flows. These are interesting times, and as I say, this is hurricane season. They say it's going to have the most My father, God rest his soul, 1953, 94 people died in the middle of central Mass, Worcester, where I'm from, in a tornado. Who would ever think a tornado would go in the middle? Who would ever think 2018 a tornado would cut through Millwood, where the building department said, can you go over and help those people on Sand Street? So have a plan, and then we're there to help you be more resilient. And also, besides just the disaster work, we help seniors and veterans. We just helped someone you referred yesterday, Miss Wong was a great lady.
Right, landscaping issue. In fact, I just got another call.
I'm sure you did.
Just a few minutes ago from somebody who needs landscaping, an elderly resident, because we reached out to the Meals on Wheels program in the town, and I said, we have potential volunteers who could help. If your house, the outside of your house needs work and you can't afford it, and it's sort of great because we're able to offer to help people, and the FiOS Center comes through. How do you?
It's like what you did with I don't know if it's the snowbirds or the shovel you're doing. So we do anything from helping landscape someone in Yonkers, elderly couple, the town city calls us, said, look, you can't even see the house. To this week, we put in a hot water heater that blew, where the county veterans office called us. An 83-year-old with a Vietnam vet had no hot water heater. So we're kind of in between the lines. We're not a fancy program and a lot of paperwork, but that's where the donations of the public, or we'll do a bike-a-thon or a bow-a-thon. We appreciate donations, FiOSCenterNY.org. Sweat equity, in-kind donations. I get insulation for 18 years donated to me, $80 a roll, and we've insulated homes. So but also we do it because we want. We're building community one day at a time too.
So let me ask a question: if somebody wants to volunteer or donate, how do they do that?
So they can email volunteer@FiOSCenterNY.org, volunteer@FiOSCenterNY.org. And our website is FiOSCenterNY.org. We take Bitcoin, even though I don't know what that is. But every dollar is a good one, $10 a month. Or if somebody wants to help sponsor the house, or say, hey, I was thinking maybe we'll do a Greenburgh Blitz build in the fall, or call it the Greenburgh Fuller Week. And we've done that in other towns and cities. As we speak in Mayfield, Kentucky, our disaster rebuilders are building hurricane homes down there, and maybe we could do something together because we want local people to get involved, not outsiders in. And we've had a lot of local. I was thinking of Reverend Scantleberry. Remember right back.
I have a question.
Yes.
So in terms of the volunteers, do you have to be like a tradesperson, like a mason or a carpenter,
not at all.
electrician? If you don't know anything, can you still volunteer? Can you be also a student?
So we're teaching every day.
Oh, okay.
It's on-the-job training. So the first time it takes you 7 times to hit the nail in. The next time 5 times, and the third time you think you're Bob View and you hit it 2 times into the 2x4.
So you have a training program for the volunteers?
We've had builders camps, and we're training all the time. As a matter of fact, reached out to some of the community programs here, and people can sign up for a week, get a tool belt, get a manual. We want everyone to learn to build and to grow food. We took that out of, just think if our cell phone and the computers go out, can we exist? So getting, and we were all kind of shut down for 2 years, and people love getting outside now. And how many people are sitting on a computer for hours every day and not even talking to each other? That's what the gift of me knowing you and you, or a congregation, be it a synagogue, a church, a mosque, or whatever. But we're real building community one day at a time. And it's like a big kibbutz or just everyone getting out there. And you don't know if you're next to the CEO or what religion they have, but we're teaching. So we tomorrow I have 15 students from an engineering class coming out to build.
And one of the things that Jim had contacted me a few weeks ago, in the week of July 1st, he has 150 volunteers.
Right.
And I think I've given you some names of people.
Right. So we have 2 days. So a company or a congregation might say, well, we want to do a big day.
Right.
And so they'll send their first year analysts. So I've got company people sending their first year, and we put them to work. and they get dirty. They're going to clean a river. They're going to paint a house. They're going to build a tool shed. We'll have 60 one day and 150. So if you have projects, the other thing, you're all on the site selection committee. Every one of you is, we're always looking for land so one of your workers can own a home. Home ownership is kind of not even talked about anymore. I mean, and why I love these neighborhoods right in here, this is like intergenerational families here. I love this whole area around here in Greenburgh and where Florence is, and where we built 6 houses on Fairview. 5 of the families paid off their interest-free, no down payment mortgage.
Amazing.
So, I want homes, not high-rises. I want ownership, not rentals.
But the nice thing also is there could be like an abandoned house.
Right.
And it could be a mess.
And we'll get that.
And you could help. Or, we
rehab it into green. We
Right.
did that with a church falling down in Chappaqua in the 1820s. We took other foreclosed houses that we know about. So it puts it on the tax rolls. We can give a 30-year mortgage interest-free. We make it so the family, people, Millard Fuller said it was radical common sense that everyone should have a decent place to live on terms they can afford to pay.
So what is the longest project you've ever had?
To
and
take?
To date.
Projects can taking a church that was falling down from the 1820s and
Couple of
it had no
years.
foundation.
Right,
So
couple
that
of
can
years.
take a long
Couple of
time.
years.
Or we could build a house in a week, which we did with Bob Vila in Yonkers in 1998. And now there are 9 homes there. So we're looking. We dropped on Highland an unfinished modular. That so there's all different types of building and materials and construction. So that's where a blitz build comes in. We said if we did an accelerated build, and it takes planning, but to get that house in a week, Bob Vila was at 8 o'clock on the first floor, 8:20 was on the second floor. B. Smith, God rest her soul, who is a great lady, she decorated the house for the family. But and that's what they're doing in Kentucky now, a Fuller Center. So, the more we get people from town, volunteer professionals who then teach the kid, or me or you, and so it's we're always teaching, we're always building. We don't want to turn away any volunteer. We want to club at Woodlands. Millard Fuller spoke at Maria Regina, I think is in Greenburgh, right? And the principal. You walked in and he was from the south and it was cold. And he said, Jim, I'm cold. I said, I don't know what's going on. She said, and you probably knew Sister Danielle, she said, are you guys cold? I want you to feel what it's like to be in substandard housing. And this winter, and with Con Ed and this other thing we talked about before going up, seniors are just they're seniors without electricity and heat. Everywhere, we know that. No town is exempt because they're trying to keep their home. And that's where, if we can help insulate it, fix a boiler, come in with volunteers, more volunteers from this community, Fuller Center, and then and just rebuild New York. This is a clarion call to rebuild New York green with home ownership. And you guys, I admire you. I follow you guys. Greenburgh has been on the cutting edge on a lot of stuff, and they're really on not greenwashing, not fake green, but real green.
In terms of the people you help, if somebody is like house rich but cash poor, and they live in a wealthier section, will you help them, or do you basically?
We have helped in all towns. There are people in Scarsdale who are house rich, but cash poor to pay their Con Ed bill tonight. That's not our first. We want to serve the lowest income family and lift them up out of poverty. A home does that. Ownership. Like I said, I was saying that, Harvard's endowment could build everyone a house in this country. Them teaching a course on poverty is like a drug dealer teaching a course on addiction. I don't get it.
So does your
So
organization...
we get calls from all towns and cities. And so if a senior is burdened, we'll look at it. We prioritize who has the greatest need. And if the family can pay back to help buy the materials or help pay something towards us as a donation, and that's what we call our God's Greater Blessing program, then on terms they can pay. Once a month, give what you can.
Right. So I just want to know, does your organization help families once you like you said, you're
After
trying to
they get in?
after they get in
Yeah.
to sustain their home, like to keep
right.
up
Well,
the home.
owning a
to
home
keep
is
up
not
the
an easy thing.
Yeah,
right?
keep
and
the
no one
payments
knows how
up.
to build.
Right.
So
right.
so as a matter of fact, I was thinking of doing a cookout by our site, inviting the families who paid off their mortgage. We're rebuilding, and it's also only as good as I'm only as good as I have my volunteers. So if you, Paulette, you get someone from Dobbs Ferry, or you get someone from Scarsdale Synagogue, or you get someone from Terrence gets someone from the island. We're volunteer mentoring, so they teach people how to work. So we have retirees every Tuesday and Thursday. We call them Rusty Nails. And one of the guys said, my wife said, I married you for life, but not for lunch every day. So we think we've saved some marriages. But they go out and lawyers, Con Ed, colonel in the Army, they go out and build, and then we try to get a mentor to the family. It's not like high and by.
Right.
So the White Plains family, I called, he worked at White Plains Hospital. And this is what motivates me. And I said, Alberto, I haven't heard his wife, Mrs. Marin, how you doing? He said, oh, great. And my husband's at the hospital, and now my two sons work at White Plains Hospital, and they own a home, and they have kids. So the reference of creating an intergenerational New York again, that's really what we are here. I should have left New York years ago, because it's so hard to say when you go into a town, except here, and say, can I build a home for Terrence or your school worker?
Right. I
apologize.
I had another question.
Yep.
Do you get any federal, state, county
So
government
we
funding?
partner with, it's a public-private partnership. So the county could help us with infrastructure. We've gotten federal home loan grants. Banks by law have to do community reinvestment for homes. So we ask every bank, we want everyone to, maybe we'll do a house that banks built in Greenburgh, help that project move ahead. So, and faith communities aren't off the hook. It's not just looking pretty on Sundays, right? Or on Saturdays, Shabbat Shalom this Friday. But it's really doing mitzvah and tikkun olam and getting out there. So we partner. We've had HUD help us to build the first 6 houses. I remember, who was it? Bill de Blasio was working with HUD back in the day, and he visited the 6 houses. They helped and the federal home loan. So it's a public, but we try to, it's relational. And because we're in such a high tax area, the gift of people being able to have that relationship with the family instead of that family has a house. No, we help build that house.
We actually went on a couple bike rides from here, from Hartsdale to Philadelphia, to raise funds for Habitat.
For Habitat. And the Fuller Center now, right, as we speak, if you look at Fuller Bike Adventure, it's their biggest fundraiser. They go across the country. One day we'll do that. I'm hoping we'll do a bike-a-thon around Greenburgh. I was thinking last Saturday, I biked from Elmsford up to Briarcliff and back up the Sawmill Bikeway, the bikeway. And I was thinking we could do from Greenburgh up and back as a fundraiser for us to get pledges. Because, always raising money. We do a walk-a-thon in the fall. We have a golf tournament October 1st. These are things we need. If someone, Pat Lanza, God rest her soul, remember Pat?
Right.
And Louis, the Lanza family has helped this area immensely for years. And they helped us immensely, and Louis, the son, and the family still helps us. So
how many paid staff people do you have?
I have 10,000 unpaid staff.
And how many paid?
About 5.
Right. So one of the.
But we have a lot of leaders then, who have worked with us for years. So when we have those 150 people, I call 15 leaders who who have been with us.
That's
I
fantastic.
say, Oscar, will you come out? He's in the Chamber of Commerce America. Will you come out? Tony from Con Ed volunteers every weekend. Tony, will you be one of our leaders? High school and college kids who have done work with us. The best thing I did 30 years ago was create high school clubs. And those kids are graduates and successful, and they're coming back and still helping on the A team. So it's a relationship that keeps building. And we did just create a Gen Z home ownership task force, because Terrence and his generation no one can't even dream of owning a home. So how do you talk about home ownership again and say, guys, what about us now? Is the answer for everyone to go to Austin
So again, if
I don't
somebody,
want to go to
if
hospice.
somebody wants to volunteer or
So
donate, what do they do
and if
again?
they can go to fullercenterny.org. You can text me at 914-406-3357. I'm out of the Paul Feiner, give you a cell phone number out of school, and that's a credit to you, Paul, and to you, Paulette. So really, are you on the town council here too, or the board?
The zoning board.
The zoning board, that's great. So after this, we're going to go look at some land. You know, there's some residual properties that the county still owns, and those could be put on the tax rolls. There's faith communities that own tracts of land, and if they're not doing anything with it, we got to say, hey.
Well, yeah, that's something that I had recommended years ago. Is that schools and even schools should be able to maybe build homes
Right.
for their faculty. It
Very
could be
good,
even
yeah.
Custodians. It
Right.
could be affordable because most of the colleges and schools in the area they have surplus land, and if it was for their employees, then people in the community might be more receptive, because usually when people say, "Oh, I'm proposing an affordable housing," then there's always resistance from the
Right,
community.
right.
But if you have like 10 units
Tracts
of
of
homes,
land, exactly,
even the
exactly.
small. Have you ever
That's
built
great.
tiny homes?
Absolutely. We just visited one that was 700 square feet. We have a number of models that are in our portfolio that we could put up quickly. So, the bigger the house, the more you have to pay for utilities, and the more you have to keep it up. So if you have a tiny home, it's energy efficient. And years ago, Sears and Roebuck, you could order a home. Remember that? There were a lot of tiny homes built for veterans
Right.
back in the so that model, we can do that. There were tiny homes on Weaver by Scarsdale. I'll give you the address. 10 of them right in a row. So Rye was camp homes instead of McMansions. So what happens? It became so hard to get a land that you own a tiny home in Rye. You sell. Our mortgages, by the way, are deed restriction, but we can do anything. I've
Right.
even thought of houseboats because we're surrounded by water.
But
in
you know
New
what?
York.
The thing is, there's so much waste of taxpayer dollars because we're putting people up in hotels,
Right.
which is like hundreds of dollars a day.
Shelters.
Right. It's it's
I-
crazy.
the money that goes into shelters, I'm convinced if we had a student did a study on the money we spent, and I say this boldly, perpetuating poverty, I probably, not by malintent, but I probably could have built everyone a house and a vacation house. Very few people know that Section 8 has home ownership vouchers as well. So we want that equity in that bank. The home was the key to all the American dream. We all want it, but perpetuating, just paying these rentals and it's not creating wealth. It's not creating pride and ownership. It's not, the lowest crime in the Bronx, and a lawyer did a study for me, is in Co-op City. Ownership, shares,
Interesting.
interest, right? Had just think had the housing authorities
Yeah.
been turned into ownership.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that what you're doing is
great.
like just really.
I don't know,
really
Paul. I
made
should leave today unless you get involved and you get involved and you get involved, and Terrence, and we say, let's rebuild New York.
Did you
together.
ever want to run for office? Just,
I've been
You
running for years.
should.
no, but did you ever?
Many people
very
have asked
inspirational.
me. Many people have asked me, probably 4 times a year at least.
You should.
And even had a group there at a house that said, "We want you to run for." I said, I'm like a man without a campaign. Everyone knows me, and I don't, and I hate the money that goes into campaigns. Just look at the money that's wasted. How many homes could we build with all the money that goes into these campaigns, right? If there was a limit, and and I know you and I are like minds on some other levels of government. So if I ever did, I would do it for no salary. You've got a big, you deserve a salary, but I would do it, on a local level, and just do it for the good of the people. And so I wouldn't be kind of owned by anyone. Because once you start taking that big money, and people say it's a necessity, but once you take that money, your decisions start to get skewed. I'm here and I'm blessed by all of you.
So every time there's like a house that's built, like for example,
Unless you want to announce a campaign for me today, and I'll be
right, but every time you succeed in helping somebody like
that's
say,
my
Kimona-
stock options.
Kimona Hansen, because
That's rewarding.
you know what?
She's lucky she didn't die. There are people that we're lucky. We're fortunate. Many people haven't died. I've seen horrible things. Her husband carried her across the water. So don't fool with water. Have a plan. And every time we get closer, I see the smile on their faces and the kids, and say, "Wow, we're going to get them."
When do you think her house will be done?
When you come out and you come out and you come out and you make a donation, fullercenterny.org. We need everyone to keep. It's
but
like,
how close would you say their
it
house?
depends. If I get X, Y, or Z donated material, someone wants to donate sheetrock. I have the insulation donated. We need a plumber if they want to get some visibility and donate plumbing, which is hard. Plumbers keep America healthy. We have an electrician over there, but we do need to raise support. So I'm not going to put. But by the fall, if we did an accelerated build, and we all got there. But there's amazing work that we've done there, and we put all the windows in, and we.
No, I see.
The siding is hardy plank. It's not cheap. It'll last forever for them. And we're experts on that. We don't go on the cheap because we want the homeowner.
And this is really an interesting situation because basically she's been getting help, but again, she's been homeless since Ida, so she has her town taxes as well as
a mortgage.
They've been compiling.
They had to rent.
Yes, so it's hard to.
But that happens to a lot of people. The people moving in from the fire today on Union in Rochelle, they had to pay a mortgage. And they had to find and pay a rent.
But by the way, I did lobby successfully for the state legislature to let the assessor reduce taxes going backwards to Hurricane Ida.
Beautiful.
They just passed that as a statewide bill, and anyone who
because the burden, and I've been with thousands of people from Sandy to Marinick to Ida. The complexity to try to rebuild your life when just imagine you lose everything tonight. Where do you go?
Difficult.
How do we rebuild?
Yeah.
Do you have insurance coverage? Where do I pay rent?
And the debts keep compiling.
And the debts keep, so that's where
true.
your support, your donations come in.
Yeah, I can
And
see.
no one's making money here. There's nothing against people money. I have people from Wall Street volunteer sometimes, but $10 a month helps us buy nails from each wall. 2x4s donated by the local lumber company adds up. So I call it house raising instead of fundraising. We do both, and that insulation I get donated. And if you know of anyone who needs their attic insulated, I get truckloads of that donated.
Yeah. We're unfortunately running out of time.
I'm
Can
sorry.
you give us one more?
FullerCenterNY.org. Please make a donation today. Come and volunteer. They can email volunteer@FullerCenterNY.org. The excitement is building. Thank you guys. You inspire me, and we can rebuild New York and homes together. Green, small, tiny, efficient, and also for future generations, and keep seniors here. An honor to be here with you guys.
That's great, and thank you for all that you've done to help residents of Greenburgh, whether it's been landscaping help, whether it's building homes, whether it's giving out sandbags. I think you've really done,
I
just
love
a tremendous amount.
I love, and years ago we helped behind Babbitt Court. We did that twice with, that area.
Right.
And it's hard, and it's, like I said, it's we're here and we promise nothing.
And you helped somebody
try.
on Riverdale Avenue a number of years ago.
Just amazing.
So really,
And we need the local churches to get involved. Like I said, Reverend Scantlebury, if every faith community went out and adopted a room, come out once a month, teach your kids to build. Someone just went to Scarsdale, and I was with an executive. He said, they just came and asked for money for the kids to go to Appalachia. And I said, what? There are kids at their school that don't own a home. And that's what we're up against.
So thank you very much.
Thank you
Our
so
time's
much.
out.
An honor to be here, and let's keep it going. And
I'll see you soon.
all right, good.
Good, thank you.
The excitement is building.
Yes.